Hey, good afternoon, class. Well, it may be morning where you are. This is not a formal lecture, so I'm not going to go through the whole rigmarole, but I am, once again, Vic McInnes, your public speaking instructor. Two things to do today. Hopefully this will go pretty quickly. First thing I want to do is go over, give you some general feedback, as I always do, on your informative speech. Then I got a couple of things I want to set you up with for your problem solution persuasive speech. To make sure that you have your best opportunity for getting a great grade. I will be doing another video next week going over the rubric so you know exactly what you're expected to do there. That'll be happening again next week. So first of all, let's talk about the informative speech. Basically what I always do is I take notes on a rubric so that I can go over it. You can see your rubrics now, they've been posted. So let me just go over everything point for point. Outlines were actually pretty good. I really, overall, probably the best group of outlines I've had. I mean, nearly everybody got 18 or 20s. The one thing that was cost people 2 points was there are 3 parts to the conclusion. A statement, restate the purpose, review your main points, and then a closing statement. I don't know why that doesn't get through, but it doesn't. A couple of people, and again, not a lot, very few people did not put their evidence in their speech or in their outline. That cost them 6 points. And there were a couple of other things that popped up. But overall, I mean, if you would just put restatement of purpose, review of main points, closing statement, that was what hung most people up. And again, like I said, the vast majority of people got 18 out of 20. The people that did not do that well, I very clearly identified, I think, where the issues were, and hopefully you'll make those corrections for your next outlines. Okay, overall on the informative speech, I thought you guys did really well. Okay, a lot of A's. Again, I was almost going to say an annoying number of A's, but it's not annoying. Actually, that you guys are, I think the online format works well for people at Aiken Technical College. Excuse me. There's a little pollen in the air today. So a lot of good solid grades, lots of A's and B's, some C's. Some people that are going to had grades that they're going to want to improve on. Hopefully their rubrics will show them where that can happen. But let me tell you a couple of things specifically that popped up. Okay, first of all, with the attention device, a lot of you guys had very startling statistics that you delivered like you didn't care. Okay, a lot of you are going to see vocal emphasis needed next to your attention device. Okay, what that means is if you're going to get up here and tell us this year 15,000 students will fail out of Aiken Technical. This year in the state of South Carolina, 20,000 students will drop out of high school and not continue their education. Well, if you're not passionate about that number, I'm not going to be passionate about that number. Punch it up, pause it, use vocal emphasis. This year, 20,000 students will drop out of South Carolina high schools. 20,000. And that comes from the South Carolina Department of Education. Okay? You got to do that. Remember, and again, I know that a lot of people look at me and say, I don't want to draw attention to myself. Well, you're giving a public speech. You got to suck it up. Okay? So give me some vocal emphasis. And again, what people find out is they think, well, if I do something stupid like go 20,000, he's got it. Well, no, actually, I put good next to it. I like seeing that. I like seeing people attracting attention to themselves during their attention device. Okay, the introductions were generally pretty good. Other than that, there was a couple of people, as always happen, combined their statement of purpose and their preview of their main points. Okay. Wasn't a big problem, but do be aware of it. The biggest problem that there was, besides needing vocal emphasis on the attention device, was people can't move through their introduction quick enough. Okay? Man, your introduction on a 4.5 to 6 minute speech should be 30 seconds. That's your goal. bam. Attention device, bam. Statement of purpose, bam. Your credentials, bam. Preview your main points. And do not give us any details about the preview of the main points. That defeats the purpose. Remember, you're supposed to go 1, 2, 3. There's the signpost you'll be looking for. Don't muddy it up by giving us any more than just a real quick topic. Okay? All right, the body of the speech. Effective organization of the main points was generally good. Okay? Didn't have a whole lot of comments about the way you had your speeches organized. There was a couple that kind of bounced around between chronological and some other things. And those people I made comments to. And if you were one of those people and you have questions, hey, send me an email. Well, we can set up a meeting, or we Zoom or in person, or we can do it over email. Let me know, okay? Where we need work is most people were pretty good with the transition to the main points, okay? What happened was some people just didn't transition at all. They just kept talking. And I had trouble, even though I had your outlines up on my computer, I had trouble tracking where you were. And the other people thought that it was the other people that need to really sort of put some more effort into transitioning are the people who said, with like my fish population speech. So we're going to jump in at the review of the main points at the bottom of the introduction. So we're about to transition to our first main point. So today I'm going to have 3 main points that we're going to talk about. The 1998 fish survey, the 2011 fish survey, and what caused the decrease in population during that time. 1998 fish survey. Don't just read your main point. Do it narratively. Give us a sentence. Okay? And again, I never seen that happen before I came here to Aiken Technical College, and it comes up every semester. Don't just read the bullet. Give us exactly what, transition us. Give us a sentence. Be the king of the segues or the queen of the segues. Now, as far as where in the body we need to focus our efforts this time is in development of subpoints. So a couple of you I said focus on your subpoint development, okay? Or subpoint development needed more focus. Here's what I'm talking about that. You'll give a good transition to your main points, and then you just sort of start to meander through your subpoint development. Here's what I'm talking about. Here's the way I would like to see it go. And we're going to jump down to my third main point. So now that we've talked about the 2 fish surveys, population surveys that were done, let's talk about what caused that significant drop in the population of game fish in the Clark Hill Reservoir. There's going to be 3 basic causes. First of all, there is the runoff from the increased construction. The detritus that flows from those construction sites is not being harnessed. That dirt, those pesticides, everything else from those sites is running into the lake and causing the particulate matter to increase in the water, which negatively impacts a fish's ability to breed. The second cause is, I already alluded to, the increased use of pesticides. Okay, so you see I'm moving through it fairly easily. I'm giving signposts, I'm giving, numbering my subpoints. It's good organizations. Here's what I saw a couple of times. My third main point is going to be the causes of the decrease in the fish population between those 2 surveys. There's a lot of different things that can cause that. It could be that like dirt flowing off of sites. I don't know, maybe that's part of the problem. But and some of that has also got pesticides in it. So we got to be aware of that. But it's the dirt that's coming, and the organization breaks down, and you just start talking. And remember, this isn't talking in front of people, it's public speaking, okay? So you need to move through those, and the one thing that's going to give you that is the one thing I know you guys probably didn't do as much as you should have, is going back and watching your speech, okay? Give your speech once. Go back through and chart your subpoint. See how cleanly and clearly you go through them. And if you do that, you're going to realize that maybe you need more work. And if you do, that's great. Okay, conclusions. I've already said this. I don't know how to say it. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. The conclusion has three parts. 3 parts. Thought I saw something on my fingers. A restatement of your purpose, a review of your main points, and a closing statement. Now, for this next speech, your closing statement is going to be a call to action. If you don't have that call to action, your entire speech is going to be ineffective. A persuasive speech has to end with a call to action. Okay? I don't know how to make it any more obvious than that, is to tell you, when you get down to like Roman numeral 4, 5, 6, whatever, there should be A, B, C underneath it. Restatement of purpose, review of main points, closing statement. Okay? Now, here's the one thing I want to tell you weirdly enough, people didn't restate their purpose. Or if they did, they really buried it in their review of main points. What you have to get out of doing for this next speech is the weasel words, okay? So today, I hope you've learned something about this topic. Today, I tried to teach you about this topic, okay? That can't be in a persuasive speech, okay? One of the things that you're going to see on the rubric for the persuasive speech is a block called persuasive intent or persuasive language. Have you ever gone and seen a car salesman and have him come up going like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the best car for you. I hope it will work out for you. If you did that, if a car salesman said, yeah, I think this is the best car out there, what would you do next? You'd be in a car, gone. You wouldn't buy a car from that guy. If a political candidate looked at you and said, yeah, I'm probably the best candidate, you wouldn't vote for him. If somebody was, if a charity was collecting money from you and said, we hope we're going to use your money well, you would leave them. You would not give them money. So you need to, as a daily basis, start getting those weasel words out of your vocabulary. Okay? All right. Oh, last thing. Time. I don't know what to tell you about time. I mean, you tape these speeches and then you pass me the link when you think they're ready. And if you didn't make the time, I don't know what to tell you. Go back and redo the speech. I've been telling you that since day one. And, if you come in at 4:15, you're going to get a 0 out of 10. If you come in at 6:08, you're going to get a 0 out of 10. I don't know how to make that any clearer. So if you send me a tape, if you send me a speech that ends at 4 minutes and 18 seconds, I'm assuming you're going to get a 0 out of 10 on that point, and you've just accepted that. So, okay, that's the full rubric. What I'm going to tell you now is we're going to transition and start talking about the problem solution speech and the persuasive speech, which this semester we are going to combine, okay? If you haven't watched those 2 lectures I posted earlier this week, stop, go watch them now. I'll wait. Hey, welcome back. Okay, so with the problem solution speech, we know we have a few key components. We have the problem has to have a cause and an effect, and that effect has to be significant. Right? You've seen the lectures. I waited for you. You should be up on that. The solution, okay, has to be practical or we say doable. You have to be able to do it, and it has to have efficacy. Okay? How did I say efficacy? Yeah, it has to be effective. It has to solve the problem. Okay. 4 simple parts. You have to have all 4 of these parts in there. Now, I'll come back. The other requirement in this, you have to have all 4 parts of this in your speech. Okay? The easiest way to do your outline okay? Your outline's done. You'll have to put in the evidence, you'll have to put in your subpoints, but that's pretty much your problem solution speech right there. Now, the persuasive aspect of this speech, which we're going to throw in here, I want to stress. Persuasive intent means from the time you start that tape, from the time you start your speech until the time you stop that speech, we have to see and hear and believe that everything is dedicated toward the point that your idea for solving this problem, okay, is not only the best idea, but the only idea, okay? You need to use words like best, greatest, most efficient. You need to use superlatives. Unleash your Donald Trump. I mean, that guy, anything else you want to say about that guy knew how to, these are brilliant, this is great, I have the best, okay? I have the best condos in the world. This is, my plan by economy is the great. I mean, he did that all the time. You may not have agreed with him, but you did believe that he believed it. Okay? You have to unleash that in this speech. Because persuasive intent, the persuasive language, your call to action, okay, is going to be where 25 points out of this, that's going to be 20% of your grade, 2 letter grades, is going to come from that. All right? Now, the last thing you have to have, and if you go back and rewatch it again, is your call to action. The principal thing about your call to action is it has to have a concrete measure that they can take. Now, a lot of people have trouble and stumble to where they use the same sort of call to action for their persuasive speech, a closing statement for their persuasive speech that they use for the problem and solution speech. Okay? And in the end, they just go, so today we've talked about domestic animal overpopulation in the United States, and hopefully you've learned something. That is not a call to action. The last thing they hear from you when you're giving a persuasive speech is what you want them to do next. Okay? Sign a petition. Take a business card. Get them to commit to a physical action so that they are committed and have a stake in the game now. Okay? So there's going to be a little something different on this draft outline. And I'll be posting this with this. You'll see this link will come out with this. At the top of your draft outline, you'll see, I don't want you to see my notes on this. Let me fold it. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Look at Facebook. Look at the Insta. Do the gram. Okay, so at the top of your draft outline, you're going to see this. Is that even on there? Yeah, that's on there. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. It says, my problem is, fill in the blank. That's main point 1. Subpoint 1, it is caused by, fill in the blank. You care because it has this effect. Fill in that blank. Main point 2. Here is a solution that will solve the problem. Fill it in. We know the solution can be done, is viable, because, fill that in. We know the solution is effective, has efficacy, because, fill it in. Okay? And then I want you to write out your call to action. Okay? Because I want to see it, because that is where so many students stumble in a persuasive speech. Their call to action just isn't a call to action. It's not telling people to do anything. Okay? Now, that's an idea for your outline. It goes at the top of your outline. Again, listen to me. Okay? You put that at the top of the outline. Then below that, you do your outline. That is not your outline. I need to see the rest of the outline. Because that part on top for your draft is not going to be there for when you put your final outline down. I need to see an outline with the introduction, with the 4 parts of the introduction, your main points, your conclusion with your 3 parts of the conclusion. That last part, and it has to be at the end, is your call to action. Okay? Now, a couple of students have called me on this earlier and said, well, you said the only thing that went, that was in a locked-in position in a speech was the attention device. The attention device has to be the first thing. Now you're saying, but there's also the call to action has to be the last thing. Yes, here's the difference. Your speech has to have an attention device. Every public speech should have an attention device. Only persuasive speeches have to have a call to action. Okay? So it's not always there at the end. There's not always a call to action. For those of y'all who were hypercritically listening to me, and if you're doing that, I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Wow, that's 22 minutes. That's about 7 minutes longer than I expected this to go. Okay, there's your feedback on your informative speech. A little way ahead for your problem solution persuasive speech. Again, this is all going to be rolling over the next week. You'll see the announcements on Blackboard. Make sure you keep up with the deadlines. Again, if you have any questions, you've got my email address. Shoot me an email. I will be happy to, I'm vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, we'll set up a face-to-face meeting. Even if you're not vaccinated, we can still meet in my classroom. So let's do that. Okay? And we will talk soon. Stay in touch. If you have any questions, just shoot me a note.